Good morning. This is Faye Ellington, sharing with you some beautiful morning sounds. Roosters crowing and birds singing and chirping. I should have done this earlier, but it would have been darker. The early morning sounds of the birds are amazing. But of course, that's because I have a few trees around. I'm not the only one in this area with a few trees, but trees are so important. They attract the birds, you know what I mean? And also, with trees, the degrees go down a bit. We're into global warming and climate change. I want to beg governments, administrations, developers. I know you want to build places for people to live, but the concrete of apartment blocks and condominiums need to be balanced with green spaces in which people can live, because the green spaces drop the heat by a number of degrees. And so if you're only building concrete blocks, then we're going to be in big problems, big problems. So as I sit this morning and I contemplate, I ask you all to remember the responsibility, and you have a responsibility. Is it global warming and climate change? Existential threat. It's going to affect all of us everywhere in the world. A few islands and countries will feel it happening even more so, more quickly than others. Losing the beaches, and you see the island disappearing. Yes, it is in fact disappearing. But this morning I want you to be a little bit more alert and aware about this thing called global warming and climate change, and ask yourself, what role can you play? What role can I play? Well, for example, don't use as much plastic, or get rid of plastic entirely if you can. Rather than going to buy a bottle of water every time you need water, have a flask in which you have water. If you're going on the bus, you take your flask. You're going in your car, you have your flask. It does help. Oh, yeah. And it is just common sense, but you see, so many of us are not thinking about this thing. So it is not as common in terms of the understanding of what can happen. So every now and again you see me look off because I'm seeing a few birds flying around. But on a morning like this, I think of this song. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Is world. And we are part of that world. And these things will cease if we don't play our part in making this world more habitable, help to drop the temperatures that are rising, the land mass that's disappearing by our own very actions. Everybody. But I'm begging the administrators, the governments, developers, to do their part, do your part in ensuring you're putting up a block. Make sure there's a good size green area near to where you're doing your construction. It may not be in the same space, and of course you'd be wise to make sure you have some trees there. But you know what I find interesting here in Jamaica, and I suppose it happens elsewhere? There may be big trees on a compound, and when developers move in, them chop down all I tree, them or most of them. Then tell me something. We couldn't design in a creative and innovative way around the trees, incorporating the trees. No. I suppose that wouldn't be financially rewarding enough, because it might mean that you would have to put in 2 less or 3 less. Can't be money alone. We have to live, and we have to ensure that all of us live. All of us, even those who are not part of your development.